This is Josh Friedman in Kyiv, Ukraine, joined by Ukrainian National Guard Captain Nick Demydiuk, who is in Chernihiv. Is that correct, Nick?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you for joining me on this difficult day. I am currently at the Okhmatdyt Children's Hospital in Kyiv, pretty central Kyiv, which was struck during a missile barrage this morning. Quite a scene here. I'll show you footage in a separate video of what I have seen of the aftermath of the missile strike and the damage and destruction at this children's hospital. But nonetheless, this was not the only complex or building that was struck in Ukraine today. There was a big Russian missile barrage targeting all over the country. And Nick, can you please explain to the best of your ability what all was struck today, what transpired with the missile attack?
Today it was sort of nationwide, so objects in various parts of Ukraine got hit, but mostly Kyiv, as you know. So for Kyiv, it was like around 30-ish missiles altogether of all kinds. There were ballistic missiles, aeroballistic missiles, and like ordinary cruise missiles. From what I have learned, most of those missiles were shut down, but some of them made it through, and that's what we have. I believe I watched the video footage of missile hitting this Okhmatdyt center, but I'm not sure whether it was one missile or two. But at least it was one, as we know, and for sure we can tell that it was a fully functional, intact missile that hit it. It was not shut down and remnants falling down, because debris does cause lots of damage on the ground, because because the missile itself may weigh around several tons, and when several tons disintegrate and they like fall down by the gravity, they hit everything that under them. So it is still like a slug. It is strong enough to ruin a small building or break a roof and several floors. But today, from what I saw, I guess this footage is available on the internet. At least one missile, fully functional missile, hit this very maternity and children hospital. The only one in Ukraine, by the way, unique. You can check the top. The information is available on the Wikipedia or elsewhere. So it was the specialized center for children with cancer, children with some other serious health issues. Well, I mean, like mostly physical, not psychological, not mental, but physical, which about their organs, etc. So therefore, this and yes, this center is well established in Ukraine. It's known all around. I say, like in Europe and many other countries, because many countries donated equipment, money to Ukraine to build it up. So, and today, most of it got ruined. So the missiles struck it, and we can presume it was deliberate, because the missiles, I mean, these missiles, the missile question is either K101 or K555. They are somewhat interchangeable, so you can see using both the designations we were followed by slash, so they are coming together. But basically, it's relatively advanced missile, and it's pretty accurate up to the point. So it means that it's unlike some other missiles which are deployed by Russia here. This missile is capable of delivering precision strikes on whatever the target is. So from given all these perspectives, we can that this strike may have been deliberate, and yes, and this is not something new in this war. So it's well established, and we had plenty of similar events in various parts of Ukraine throughout these years. And I guess the today's shock is caused by the nature of the object that was hit, and also by the because it was something that something that hasn't been practiced for quite some time. So they generally, for last several months, Russian air forces tried to destroy Ukrainian power plants, Ukrainian power generation, and they somewhat succeeded in it. When we discussed on other streams and other interviews of mine about the electricity situation in Ukraine. So that was something new. Also, what is unique about this airstrike? This strike happened during the daytime. This is something that is not really typical. Usually, such missile strikes, they happen on like bi-weekly or tri-weekly basis. So basically, the cycle is like this. So they do a missile strike of around several dozen of rockets or missiles, and after that, they spend some time filling up their ammunition, their armaments, and then doing it again. So it normally takes up to 3 weeks to collect enough, gather enough missiles to make a relatively successful strike. So this time it was somewhat strange because there was first strike at night, but it had I guess from the reports that I've seen from the Ukrainian Air Force, they are official, so it's public information. They launched something like 3 missiles, which is when normally they launch like 30 missiles. But later the morning came, and we had this atrocity that we're having. So this is something which is somewhat new in terms of their operation. It's something that never happened. Well, didn't happen before, and I mean didn't happen. Has happened in a year or so, because they normally practice such strikes at night. Why at night? Because at night it may be more difficult to visually spot the missile, locate the missile, and acquire it. It's not a big problem for the raiders, because raiders work any time of the day. But sometimes some of these missiles, because they fly very low to the ground, sometimes they got hit by the man-pad systems like Stinger or similar systems, or even by the high caliber machine guns like Browning machine guns. It's also something that happens, and of course, it's much easier to do that. It's much easier to do to destroy such missiles with a visual contact during the daytime rather than nighttime. So they prefer to use the nighttime strikes. Same goes for the drone attacks. So drone attacks happen at night for the same very reason, because at night they are very much more difficult to spot.
The Russian government says that it's Ukrainian air defense that is responsible for what took place at the hospital surrounding the complex that I'm at. What would your response be to that?
Well, like I said, there is a video, like 2 videos that are circulating around the Telegram, around the internet. And at first I was somewhat skeptical about those videos because, the Kyiv air defense is very strong. It's comparing to some other places, I guess only the Israel and defense is better than here in Kyiv. So here in Kyiv, it's really strong, and right now they have enough anti-air missiles for the SAM systems. But today, something happened. Still, regardless of that, cruise missiles and any kind of missiles are a very difficult target to shoot down, and I'd like to say that, especially if the barrage is very extensive for like several dozen rocket missiles at the same time, it may bring some problems. Even though Ukrainian air defense, from what I have seen, I have the official public statistics, which is available, and generally, it's Ukrainian air forces not conceal that data, so they say how many missiles were launched and how many missiles were destroyed, and like that. So from what I can say, I have to look it up. There were
As you're looking,
27.
there were
Yeah,
27.
there were 27 cruise missiles, and not all of them for Kyiv. So they were spread all around the country. So I don't know the exact number for Kyiv, but
you're saying those are the total missiles fired, or those are intercepts, according to
no, I'm saying that
Ukrainian statistics?
27. So 27 were launched, and 23 were destroyed. But like I said, it's not. It's all around Ukraine, so it's not about Kyiv. But I believe that Kyiv received like the total majority of those missiles.
This morning, I heard many explosions.
So yeah,
So if I may, to my untrained ear, they mostly sounded like intercepts, which I have heard quite a few times in the past. But I probably heard at least, I thought I heard at least 20 or 30 sounds of explosions this morning.
Yeah, I guess it's something that's not very usual for you to hear, Josh. But what I'm trying to say is that the anti-air defense managed to take down most of those missiles, including there was one Kinzhal aero ballistic missile. So it's very serious threat for any kind of anti-air defense, because this missile is what Russians claim it is hypersonic, but it isn't. It's more like a propaganda styling for show in order to show the world that they have the hypersonic missile, but in reality they don't, and in reality even the US don't, because it's hypersonic missile technology is still in development in both in the US, in China, and Russia. So basically, Russians claim. So it's more like, for your understanding, Kinjal is more like ground based ballistic missile, but launched from the air, and it gains tremendous speeds when going down to the target. Okay, so this missile was intercepted by the Kyiv air defense, and some other, I guess, 3 out of 4 Iskander missiles, ballistic missiles, were intercepted as well. I believe that one that was intercepted, perhaps it wasn't really meant for Kyiv, because they used it perhaps in some other place, and there were so the strike was massive. But although the Kyiv was the primary target, but it happened in other places of Ukraine too. So that's it. And from what I see, most of cruise missiles, like the ordinary cruise missiles that I've used every single time, they were destroyed in the air. But unfortunately, at least one missile, the one that was seen in that video, managed to break through and unfortunately hit what it wanted to hit. I can say that. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that it wasn't air defense missile, because first of all, Ukrainian air defense systems, they are not even used for using against the ground-based objects. I mean, Russians modified their S-30 and S-300 and S-400 systems for usage for the ground targets, like an ersatz for ballistic missile, but the result is like 50-50. So because it's not the primary purpose of the entire defense system. So for what I can say, that I doubt that any kind of entire defense deployed here in Kyiv, and Kyiv region is capable of shooting ground objects. So I guess it's very unlikely it is even possible. So
And based on the video footage, is the main argument that because it appears that the missile is intact right before impact, that's what indicates that it was a Russian missile, and furthermore, are you saying that also indicates that, or you believe because of that it's intentional, a sign that it's intentional?
I'm trying to explain this. So it's very unlikely it was this launch from entire defense system of Ukraine. Okay, so this is out of question, I guess. Number two, if an entire defense missile hits something in the air and it hits it successfully, there is debris and shrapnel from that entire missile. Sometimes even entire missile may blow up, self-destruct after not hitting an intended target. So and in this very video we see that it is not the remnants falling. So we can see a missile. Let's say we don't know what it is, but a missile which is intact and is falling by the angle of 45 to 60 degrees to the horizon. So this means that it's not like falling under its momentum, it's falling under its gravity. So it was directed at that spot. And from the CCTV cameras and all the other footage from what we can see, that this missile has characteristic small wings, which are present on K1001 or K555 missile, and they are not present on entire defense missiles, because I saw the comparison with the Patriot SAM system missile and S-300 missile. So they are generally they have some kind of tail. They have tail fins for stabilization, but not the wings. So, and here in this missile we can clearly see the wings. So it was the cruise missile, and so most likely it was cruise missile with the intended target of hitting where it hit. So therefore I can be very certain on that. Right, that it wasn't the Ukrainian anti-defense missile, and of course the Ministry of Defense of Russia is lying. Like, it's actually it's a normal thing for them on many occasions. So therefore, this instance cannot be trusted by default, I guess. But this is the way it is. You can, of course, depend on the audience. You can blame me for being biased, but what I'm trying to say is the footage is there, and it's pretty much clear that it was a Russian missile hidden from there. And even I can even say that this missile came from the westernish part, from western or southwestern part, because given how this missile is flying. So this was one missile that because those missiles are not flying directly, so they are flown by some route which is inserted into their system and guided those missiles. So of course those missiles are capable of maneuvering around the country for avoiding the SAM system, the known locations of potential locations of SAM systems, or in order to confuse the entire defense and air forces, because it's not only the ground SAM systems managing with the rockets, with the missiles, but also the air force, the aircrafts, they scramble into the air and they are trying to intercept those missiles as well. So I guess this missile came from southwest, I believe, which is basically makes sense because many of them have been launched from east, but they when the attacks started, they went west because it was the typical route for them for the last several times. And now it's and after that they turn around and flew back to Kyiv region at least, and basically were trying to hit the various objects, and most of those missiles were shot down, but not this very one.
All right, and
Yeah.
do you have any comments to wrap up about the missile barrage as a whole and what transpired in Ukraine today?
Well, I'd like to say I don't even know how to put it, because I think that I described it in enough details already, and I don't know what to add. For me personally, I'm quite surprised that they couldn't get in that missile over there, because generally Kyiv anti-air defense is capable of operating with multiple dozens of targets. So I don't know what happened here. I mean, it is, but anyway, like I said, from what I learned, from what I hear from people who understand how it works, missiles of any kinds are very difficult target, regardless of the entire defense system. So I'd say Ukrainian anti-air defense forces are very capable and very skilled, but still they may have some blunders here and there, because it's very difficult to manage to stop such kind of targets, because because there are so many factors that I'm not really aware of, and I guess many people are not aware of. But fortunately, this is what happened. So so my personal point here is I'm quite surprised they couldn't hit that shoot down that missile. That's very unfortunate, but that's what happened.
Right, Nick, thank you very much for joining me on this difficult day and for sharing your thoughts and analysis on the situation. For anyone who's interested and has not already seen the Q&A live stream we did recently from Odessa, that is on the Josh Friedman YouTube channel. It was a 2-hour recent live stream, as well as other interviews and streams we've done in the past. You can also find them on the channel. Nick Demydiuk is a captain in the Ukrainian National Guard. Thank you one more time, Nick.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, everyone.